Hello, it is me, Pearl, from Pearl and the Prayers. And this is Tuned in Pearl, and we are here to take a look at the balance between the divine masculine and the divine feminine energy inside of self, understanding that whatever state we find this energy in, we can expect to see that reflected back to us in our interactions with others, in our external environment. And if we want to see change, we do need to shift and change the energy within. And hopefully, I can help you shift into a state internally where you are no longer emotionally dependent upon your reality changing. That is the best place for you to be in order to actually see reality change, ironically. Let's take a look at the general week ahead energy. We have divine masculine. We're using the fountain tarot today. And yes, I did do my new set of nails, and I actually really do like this one a lot. I keep upping the ante with my manicures, my at-home gel manicures that I've been doing. So the masculine energy of this week is the Four of Cups. We see this this card. It does refer to meditation and grounding. It also refers to missed opportunities. It can refer to just kind of sitting and resting and indulging a little bit too much in that energy. Which I feel comes from a place of protecting yourself from something. I don't think laziness, as we call it, is a moral issue. I think that it has to do with fear, usually, and a fear of changing the way that things have been. So I do think this week is a week where we are seeing a lot of fear coming up, because for the divine feminine energy, we have the Ten of Swords in reverse. The Ten of Swords is about a painful ending. It is about something coming to completion, but usually what is coming to completion is the thoughts that plague us, the issues and thoughts that we keep thinking about endlessly in a loop, that suddenly being over. The reversal on the Ten of Swords for me is showing that there is this delay, I would guess, in this thinking or these thought patterns about being in separation from something that we desire, whether that is a relationship, a job, money, health, wellness, like anything that we've just been really, really craving, desiring, wanting, and constantly thinking about. We're continuing to do that. There is a feeling of being in a fantasy land, so to speak, with the Four of Cups, which can also be about dreams and dreaming and fantasizing about something rather than doing it. And the reversal is that we're resisting the end of this time. And the only reason that we would do that is if we really anticipated that ending the suffering we've been going through would somehow result in a different type of suffering. It's like choosing the devil, even though it's painful or undesirable. It's something you're familiar with or more comfortable with than potentially a new energy. So this is the energy of this week, is resisting letting go of those thoughts that have kept you stuck, and kind of retreating into just fantasizing about maybe the things you could do to get this to end, or the things you'd like to do, but generally speaking, missing an opportunity to actually end the painful separation from the thing you desire. So that's not the kind of energy I want to see happening for the week, but let's look at what's underlying it, where it's coming from, and remember how we can shift. So underlying that missed opportunity, Four of Cups energy for the masculine, we have this fast moving Eight of Wands energy, showing us moving directly to the point here, a point of intersection, of things coming together. Notice that the Two of Wands is in this bottom part of the card, and the Six of Wands is forming this like ray or burst of energy at the top. And that is really giving me a sense of finally achieving some success on a journey or a path that we've been on, and really rushing full speed ahead into that energy in terms of communication or the expression of ideas in particular. So this is like there is a pulling, rushing sensation to finally express these ideas or thoughts. This can come from a person that you're focused on, or it can be about your own self-expression. What is coming up with that in the feminine is another 8. So we have 8 here, and it is the 8 of Swords. This is a sense that we're kind of trapped in a prison of our own thinking, which we could easily leave because the bindings that are on us are simply removed without much effort, and the swords themselves are not creating an impenetrable prison. It's something that we can get out of. So I feel like what's underlying this resistance to maybe facing our fears around rejection is that we still are thinking thoughts that are creating this, I want to say like repetition, because I'm seeing I'm seeing like on repeat. We're constantly experiencing the same thing again and again because we're constantly thinking the same thoughts again and again. And the way out of that is to go with the flow and not try to like think or plan. Thinking and planning is something that we've been doing while also like imagining the worst case scenario from those thoughts and plans. So it's trapping us in this energy. And this week is really bringing up these issues for you. If you think the same thoughts, you get the same results, and there's really no way around that. No matter how much you want that to be different, your reality just keeps serving you exactly the same thing because you're thinking about it in exactly the same way. If we were going to talk about this in terms of a relationship or a love in some way, what I'm seeing is a masculine energy that is missing an opportunity to communicate because of a perception that there is a barrier to actually being in a physical proximity to a feminine energy. There is something blocking the masculine energy from doing that, and so there is this thought process that's like, I can't possibly go and communicate with her because of the distance between us, because of what's happened, whatever perceived blocks or obstacles, there's this emphasis on it. And so the masculine is just kind of sitting there in this like fantasizing about communicating, but not actually being able to do it. But it's all in their head. That's not real. That's just an illusion that they're perceiving. So let's look at what's going on. First, let's look at the past energy. What is the masculine energy carrying into this week that's causing this to happen? Okay, the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands is an irresponsible energy. It is the energy of somebody who is, love bombing, being very passionate, but not able to sustain that energy. It is somebody who's being inconsistent, somebody who's just like pretending or playing at being able to show up in some way, but not having the actual goods to be able to provide that, whatever it is that they're suggesting that they want to provide. This is like getting swept up in something and carried away, but not actually being able to make good on any of what you're interested in, or what you're planning for or imagining you're going to be able to do. it's like signing a promissory note on a loan you can't pay. And just kind of crossing your fingers and hoping for the best, and it's kind of an irresponsible energy. There's a light in this card of spontaneity, self-expression, passion, and interest, but it's quickly fizzled out because it's not sustainable. You don't have enough fuel for this fire. So that's one of the things that's feeding into the reluctance to give or receive some kind of an offer. For the feminine energy, similarly, we have the Page of Wands, and it's in reverse. This is even more problematic because this is an even more immature energy than the Knight of Wands, and it's in a reverse, which is showing me that there is a lack of initiation. Nothing is ever starting. And so it's like having passion about something, but being unwilling to start talking, if it's a conversation that needs to be had, or to start playing, even if it's in these little small ways, just to kind of like dip your toe into something. It's like not even being able to get something off the ground. So our experiences with this energy in the past are influencing our experiences this week. This has happened to us before, so our perception that we're kind of trapped in this week is haunting us. Like, well, we've been here before and this didn't turn out to expand into anything. So I'm going to think the thoughts that I had when this happened before, and then I'm going to create that reality again. So what is going on currently? What's the current energy right before? The Divine Masculine here with the Hermit energy. So currently the masculine energy is very much a lone wolf on their own journey, going within. Even if you are surrounded by a lot of people, or someone else in your life is surrounded by a lot of people, they're keeping to themselves. They're really more inside of their head, like we saw from all the swords cards, than they are out in the world. They are following a light, so they're following inspiration, and they are on a journey, but it's one that they feel they have to do alone at this point. That's the current energy of this week. For the feminine energy, we have another reversal, which is showing for me that the feminine energy is on the point of a turnaround. Things are about to change very drastically for her. I don't think I have reversals in this deck. Did I just shuffle it? Oh, I might have okay, so that's interesting. So I actually shuffled it in such a way that reversed all the cards. Yes. Okay. So interesting. So it's the nature of this reading then is that all these cards are reversed, actually, except for the Eight of Swords. Very interesting. So that was the only card that was truly upright. Oh, excuse me. So something about how the feminine is already, like, she's been turned around. She's been facing the wrong direction, or focusing on the wrong things. And that has kind of caused this resistance to come forward. It's prevented her from being able to end something. So if we were to turn the deck upright, then actually the energy would be that we are ending this painful situation. We are initiating something, and it's really coming from all of the self-love that we've been pouring into ourselves. But I'm going to keep the reversal because I think it's important that we know that things are on the verge of changing or shifting or turning around. And it's precisely because of this Queen of Cups energy. The Divine Feminine has been exclusively pouring into her own cup because there had been this energy of constantly over-giving. And giving is actually supposed to be a masculine energy's job. And I'm not talking about gender, so please don't mistake me. The feminine energy is meant to receive. But if you have not been able to receive in your life because you have had to give instead, then you have an imbalance inside of you that's causing you to find simple things difficult. Receiving love, receiving money, receiving rest, receiving benefits from things, receiving anything. So you're overcompensating for feelings of lack by over giving, hoping that that is going to help you to receive. But what's really going to help you receive is if you stop over giving. And there is a fear of, if I stop giving so much, like for me, if I stop doing so many live streams, I won't receive any abundance. Because my worth doesn't come from the hundreds of hours of content I've already created and put into the world for free. My worth comes from constantly being productive, constantly generating leads, constantly, right? You catch my drift. So Divine Feminine's current energy has been that she has given too much, which is making this feeling of needing to retreat into oneself and be in hermit energy sort of vital for survival. If you are over giving to everyone else and nobody's giving to you, and you don't want to completely drain yourself, you have to just go within and be in isolation in order to correct that issue. So where this is heading, we have for the Divine Masculine, I'm going to cover up here the vulnerable feminine energy, we have the World card. So there is actually completion here, and in this picture of the world, the feminine energy is coming out on top. So whatever we are emotional about or our creativity, that's the thing that's going to help bring order to the chaos that we've been experiencing. The cycle that we've been in that's been on repeat, that cycle stops here once we start to value our feminine energy more. That's coming up with the Empress and the Magician. And the Empress card is the divine feminine energy. The Magician card is the energy of co-creating. It's the energy of having all the tools you need in front of you and basically making magic happen by relying on the energy of the universe to fulfill whatever request you've made via the words you're saying with a spell that you're casting, or the vision that you've had in terms of your manifestations. The Empress in reverse and the Magician in reverse really talks to me about emotional manipulation. This is where we feel we have to manipulate others through through making them feel guilty, or manipulate ourselves experiencing manipulation through guilt. And the World card is showing me an end to this energy this week. Now, if I were to read this entire thing upright, as it should have been read, because when I shuffled the deck, I should have read the cards upright. What I'm really seeing for the feminine energy is actually an end to painful separation. From last week, we bring in this energy of having started something, having taken some steps or started to explore or be more adventurous, pouring that self-love, pouring into our own cup through self-care and self-love, and then experiencing the abundance that we've been wishing for, hoping for, magically trying to make happen here with the Magician card. And I think that's what the turnaround is. I think what we've been experiencing is where the cards first came out. The delays, the lack of initiation, the overgiving, and the lack of experiencing the abundance that should be coming from the magic that we inherently are experiencing. So I do think this is turning around this week. We aren't going to continue to see this energy of painful separation anymore. The Four of Cups is now looking more like a card that is about giving an offer, especially with the Eight of Wands underlying the energy. the masculine energy being alone and wanting to finally invite feminine energy into his world, and the feminine energy coming out on top in that picture is more accurate for what would be going on this week, which is interesting. So for those of you that stayed to the end of the reading, congratulations. There's many people who skipped out on the whole reading and didn't receive the full picture, and consequently will probably not have the same kind of week that we will have in this collective, because we have this information that goes much deeper than just that initial surface level reading. So very interesting. Another deck I don't have reversals in, and I know for sure that I shuffled this one upright. So this is an actual reversal. Again, a feminine energy depicted in this card, and it says the Keeper of Hope. So I do think it's been hard to remain hopeful, and it's not been an easy thing to do, and it may still be difficult for you because of what you're carrying in from the past, because of that Eight of Swords. Remember what you thought in the past. If it's still present, if you're still activating it, you're still experiencing that. And it's almost easier for you to believe because you already have evidence of it everywhere. You have what we would call an evidentiary contrivance. Okay? This is the idea. So let's just say that you have this belief that every time you eat oranges, you get a headache. Okay, we're just do this randomly. Every time I eat an orange, I have a headache because one time when you ate an orange, you got a headache, and there was nothing else in particular that day that you associated with it. You're like, well, what did I do? I ate an orange, and then orange gave me a headache. Now, every time you eat oranges, you're going to have a headache, and the proof is going to be the physical experience of the headache and the fact that you ate the orange. There is going to be all this evidence. You're going to see an article that says, like, sometimes eating oranges causes headaches. Someone else is going to tell you that it happens to them. You're literally going to continue to get evidence to validate your new belief that eating oranges gives you a headache. That's evidentiary contrivance, and that's something that you have to move through this week, because you've been getting proof of whatever it is that you have a contrivance about. Whatever you already believe to be true will consistently show up, and you have to deprogram those beliefs and program new ones in their place. Whatever new beliefs you have, you will receive evidence of them. The stronger they are, the more evidence you will have. That's how it works. This advice for this week is, all is not lost. No matter how grim that box of darkness is that you're staring down into right now, there is hope at the bottom of that box. No one can take it from you. It is the spring green of your heart, always reaching toward the light of photosynthesis. Change will come, and growth too. No feeling is ever final. Keep going, or don't. Take a rest, put on your PJs, and curl up with a good book. Just know this: hope lives at the bottom of every breath. You can't ever really get rid of it. So let this moment pass, and that one too. And when you're ready, reach for the Keeper of Hope. She's nearby, and she is reaching back. So I hope that gives you some solace, I guess, this week, if you are feeling a little bit challenged by your evidentiary contrivances. There is hope that those contrivances will change, that you will see proof of what it is you're seeking to experience rather than what you don't want. We have supermoon energy here with emotions are running high from the Moonology deck. Let's take a look. Emotions are running high. Okay. This card suggests that the answer to whatever you're asking is writ large, like the silvery full moon set against the velvety night sky. If you're wondering how successful something is going to be, such as a job or a relationship, the answer is very. To use common parlance, the answer to your question may well be that it is under your nose. This card is about being larger than life, being special and bursting with energy that you can tune into and work with. You can expect plenty of good things and a positive outcome when this card comes up, but you may find there's a lot of emotion to deal with too. There's also a sense that the opportunities around whatever you're asking about don't come along every day, so take action. To attune to the moon, remember, success is close. I just must trust. The additional meanings for this card are: a resolution to your question is closer than you may think. Don't ignore the obvious. Something exciting lies ahead. Make sure you don't blow events out of proportion. Speak to the goddess. Ask her for assistance. The teaching of this card is: a supermoon is a new or full moon that takes place when the moon is at its closest point to the earth during its monthly orbit, an event known as perigee. If it is a full moon, the moon appears around 14% bigger at this time. The moon is known as the Queen of Emotions, and if you draw the supermoon card, regardless of when you do this, you can expect your feelings to be more highly charged. So this week does look like you will have more highly charged feelings, especially with the Queen of Cups initially coming up in the reverse, since this is definitely a card of overfeeling, and its reversal, having trouble navigating those emotions. And one of those reasons might come from the fact that you've been in hermit energy for so long. When you start to connect with people, with more people, and leave the hermit energy to bring whatever creative idea out, or to have a relationship or a connection, there are a lot of emotions that will come up around that, and you won't be used to that. Remember, we chose the devil that we may know at the beginning of the reading, thinking that was going to be more comfortable than changing or turning things around. We saw ourselves that change was coming because we actually had to turn the deck around so that it was upright. We changed the way we were looking or perceiving the cards, which is giving me a sense that this week you will be changing the way that you look at things. You might start by looking at it in one way, the way that you've always looked at it, in a painful way, an uncomfortable way. And you end the week with turning that all around and finally coming out on top with the World card, which is a beautiful energy. Oops, sorry, I did not mean to hit the microphone. Okay, the next, or the final oracle card we have to pair with the Sun card. Remember, I do the extended reading for these cards on Mondays, and then I post those on passes.com/pearlsprayers for your additional healing to answer the questions that go with the two cards that came up for the week ahead reading. So the reading of this card, this is the Four of Swords, or the Truce card from the Thoth Tarot. And it says, the Four of Swords has reached the fields of manifestation and condensation. The winds of mind have settled, and the powers of the element are well balanced in themselves. The mind has solved a problem, found a solution, completed a process, or has come to a good, satisfying compromise. Jupiter keeps the scales of the Libra in harmonious balance, and the truce can be enjoyed full-hearted. Though for the air stability means stagnant, therefore the restful truce should be used for reflection and reconsideration. The idea has become full circle. When the Lord of Truce appears, he brings with him a temporary respite, often after we have passed through trying times. This is a quiet period, which should be used to recover, regroup, and stabilize. It is important, though, that we always bear in mind that the fact that this is only a moment in time. Soon we shall be required to pick up the tools of life and continue on our journey. So on a day ruled by him, we are well advised to use the internal stillness he brings to think over trouble spots or areas of difficulty. That way we see the whole issue more clearly and are better equipped to sally forth undaunted when the time comes. Occasionally, on a day ruled by the Four of Swords, there will be a requirement to bury the hatchet with somebody, or to accept their gestures of friendliness towards us. It is important that we are reserved both in what we are prepared to offer and what we are prepared to forgive. Truce only marks the cessation of hostilities, a brief pause during which we might negotiate a lasting peace. The one thing this card always tells us is that we have not yet finished our business here. If we fail to hold this in the forefront of our minds, we're likely to make the mistake of being unprepared for whatever comes next. The drive of this card is manifestation, balance of powers. The light is a chance to reflect, a rest from fighting, tolerance and generosity. The shadow is cold truce, which means no peace at all, isolation, and forced restriction. The keywords from this card are Jupiter in Libra, tranquility, focus, mental purification, integration, expansion, balance, and clarity. The advice is your inner purity is enough to successfully complete your plans. Always be sure that what is happening makes you feel good. The question is, what supports and blocks your lightness? Now that goes so well with the Sun card, so I will be definitely answering those questions that go with these two cards tomorrow in that extended reading for additional healing for you. And the suggestion is to take control of your environment and rearrange it to keep you calm and focused. So that's a good thing you might want to do this week. The revelation is, I live in peace with myself. And the affirmation is, plans formulate within me as I gather peace and stillness to myself. So this is a call for rest, resting your mind in particular. Remember, if we're getting all of this activity in the feminine energy, then that means, and the supermoon for emotions are running high, that means that our emotions are stirring up a lot of thoughts, and those thoughts can keep us from progressing forward if they are particularly focused on what has happened in the past. And so if you find yourself really dwelling on what happened before, what went on before, what happened the last time you tried to do this, or what happened to people in the past who tried to do this, or whatever it is, call a truce with those thoughts. Say, okay, I accept that. I understand that that was your experience. Now I'm asking you to be quiet about it because I already know that. And I don't need to dwell on it. I don't need to make more of a story about it because this is the present moment. And in the present moment, I'm at peace. And I'm going to see what happens when I'm at peace rather than when I'm approaching something with mental conflict. And I'm just basically experimenting and seeing, is there a difference in what I receive if I remain calm versus when I try to fix or change or alter something in a state of distress. So that is your reading for this general week ahead energy. I hope that it helped you. If you would like further assistance, you can, of course, go to turnedintarot.com. There is a link below. I have video recorded readings there. I have the ability to work personally with me. There is currently a package, the Intuitive Guidance Call. When you purchase one, you get 2 calls for the price of one. And I would take advantage of that because that is going to go away very soon. So if you're interested in working with me personally, do so now. I will talk to you all tomorrow if you join me for the extended reading. Otherwise, I will see you on Friday for the love reading, which of course is also available if you didn't see last week's. Have the best day.